Well. Good morning. Welcome back to the Destry Wade channel. Homeless Surfer here, ready to roll again. A lot of things going on. Good things I want to talk about to you that have been happening. We've definitely found some daylight to run to as far as our business efforts go. Stay tuned. Got some exciting announcements. It's going to help you help me as well. Start ordering my books. So, remember the whole point again was to sell these book collections that I've created. They've been rolling around in my head for years. Um, and being the fact that I'm in a position where the technology is available and potentially I'm going to be homeless again, this is something that we're going to be able to keep working on, and it's working. Uh, Good Lord willing, we won't have to worry about going homeless again. We'll leave here in a couple months and move to a new location. I've got some ideas, so I'm not totally washed out. Um, but like I said before, to stay positive, the bottom line is you got to accept what happens, deal with it, and work through it. Come out the other side, because that's where it comes. A couple precautions today. Santa Ana wind's been blowing. The desert air is now coming towards my beach, and my body is not happy about that at all. I've got major allergies all of a sudden. And the weird thing is, I think I told you this before, I never had allergies in my life, ever. And then all of a sudden, my dad passed away. My dad, by the way, had like horrible allergies. When the Santa winds blew. Now I understand the process. What happened to him? It's the Santa winds blew. Fall and spring, man was wiped out. Me never even bothered a little bit about any allergies at all until all of a sudden 2 years ago or so, my dad passed away. All of a sudden, I got allergies. It's like he left that behind. Here you go, son. Take these allergies. Man, I got them. And I'm telling you, just yesterday it started. The weather switched, which is beautiful here because it's the best time. I mean, here we are in January, and we're sitting at 80 degrees with sunny blue skies. They're crystal after the rain for the last couple of weeks. So anyway, but that's the bad thing. The rain made all the blooms come, and here I go. So anyway, a lot of things have been going on. I think that as far as progressing the business, it's incredible what we can do when we just set our minds to it. And as people that have experience in this world, it really helps to have that experience, man. I always thought, I looked back and thought I wasted my best years, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. Here I am at 61, finally after 61 years of being an adult, I just decided to take control of my own life and quit looking to other people as the reason I'm not succeeding. I'm not succeeding because I choose not to. So anyway, this year I choose to, and I bet you dang well it'll be amazing what we can do. And hopefully I'm an example of what we can do. We decide just to take a different approach. Strange thing, a couple things real quick about being homeless again. Do want to keep you up to date on those situations, and it's a sad situation because I was downstairs before this started or before I taped this, and here comes an old friend of mine from years and years ago, and he is just wired to the hilt, and he looks so uncomfortable and so unhappy, and I don't know. I guess I'm looking at life in a different tube now. Um, it just didn't look like something I wanted to be involved with. The discomfort level was so off the charts. Um, yeah, I don't want to do that anymore. Thank God, because the bottom line is you can't even get this started from that point. I mean, there's no way. Even if he goes, it's going to take him a couple days to go down and go to sleep. And once he does, he's not going to eat, so his body doesn't have the nutrition he needs to actually heal while he's sleeping. So that's going to continue on to hurt him. He's still not going to wake up capable and ready mentally to go. He's going to wake up ready to let's go again. Been there, done that. I think if you follow my channel, you probably might have to, and if not, you probably know someone that did. So anyway, it's just not something that's conducive to getting you anywhere. It's a choice, and don't be mad about their choices. Hey, I'm not mad at the that's his choice. Yeah, I'm there to talk to him, and he does. I mean, that's why he comes talk to me like that because he knows I'm not going to judge him. I'm not going to be mad at him. I'm going to talk less down to him because of the way he is right now. what I'm going to do is be there when he comes down and just need someone to talk to because the problem about getting high is you get low. Once you get high, you come back and you're down low. You're not going, you don't get to go back to just normal, feeling, okay, today's a good day. I'm just going to get back on it. No, you wake up down like, God, I don't even want to deal with today. That's the day after shit. So, anyway, this is a story that you watch this stuff and like I said, as soon as we get this live stream coming in, uh, you'll be able to see it too. And in some ways you might find it sad, but in other ways you might find it enlightening. To just learn to love them, man. Love them anyway. That's the problem. Most of them, their families bailed on them a long time ago. I know what that feels like too. I can only talk about things I know that I've walked through, but I've walked through a lot of different things, so it leaves me the right to talk about it. Anyway, couple things on the continuing on the homeless before we jump over to the dynamic announcements that I have. Oh, remember, sorry, I always forget this part. I'm one of those things. Like, subscribe, please comment. I really matters to me if you comment, and it matters if you like and subscribe too. So please do, because hopefully someday I'll have some good things over there on the subscription side for those that want to watch live broadcasts and stuff. Because we're getting there. We are. And I'll go over that in a minute, but finishing up the homeless aspect that we got to look at is they did the homeless count this week in San Diego, and man, talk about just watching the same old thing continue in the same old way, and nothing's getting done and nothing's getting better. And the problem is that the basis of what's been handed to groups that are supposedly working with the homeless people just gets absorbed by the groups, and it's not being moved forward. Um, it, Again, it goes to a simple math problem, and I've talked about this before, but the homeless count just really brings it up because it's so frustrating. They do this over and over. Like I said, on and off over 20 years, I've seen that street, and I know what it's about. But they do a general count, and they don't take into any consideration of the situations of these people. They go find people in alleys sleeping. Well, what's the situation? Why is he sleeping in the alley? You can bother to ask what's going on, man. I'm sure he wants to go somewhere better. Just doesn't want to maybe go to a congregate tent. There's nothing nice about that. But anyway, $189,000 a homeless person. Like I said, that's rounding up, saying there's 200,000 homeless people in California, and in the last 3 years, 4 years, they've thrown $24 billion at that issue. We're gonna put this into the homeless people and help them. They could have wrote me a check for $189,000 4 years ago. I wouldn't be homeless. All my problems would have been solved. And most people that are out on the street should be off the street. I mean, 100. If you're talking about $24 billion, 200,000 checks given out for $189,000, just flat. Give it to the homeless guy. Guarantee you, most of the people will be off the street. Drug dealers are going to have good times too. They're going to make some money on these fools, but their money's going to come and go. Now you know who's really sick. Because the problem with it that we have with the homeless situation is it's easy to throw everybody into a single pot. They're homeless. And it's not that way. There's a whole levels of socioeconomic development here that from the very bottom of the dude that has nothing more than the clothes. Sometimes they even got the pants on their butt, and a blanket. And they're walking around barefoot, mentally ill. That's their level. And you can't go up to them and say, "Hey, I got somewhere for you to sleep." They don't want to. They're in a whole other world, a whole other realm than you and I even think in. And you don't want to. If you start thinking in their realm, you're in their realm, and that's not where you want to be. That's mental illness, and it's cruel that we leave them out there suffering. Then you got your next group. You got your drug addicts and alcoholics. It's kind of I think there's two sides of that story. There's people that get to the street because of their drugs and alcohol, and there's people that just accelerate the use of their drugs and alcohol when they get to the street because you got nothing else to do. Sit down all day in one spot for 16, 17 hours, hopefully feel tired enough and have a safe enough space that as soon as it gets dark, you can go lay down. Um, that's so the drug addicts are the next group. And they're a whole different group too. They got hustles. They make money. Some of them even actually work and stuff. You know, a lot of them might live in RVs or homes. They're not totally off um, mentally. They're chemically altered, and that messes them up. But even with the chemicals, they know they got to earn the chemicals, right? They got to keep going. So they get up. They have hustles. Those are the dudes you see digging through your trash can at 3, 4 in the morning or 6 in the morning when you get up to walk your dog. That's those dudes. They're supporting their family. They're supporting themselves that way. And that's a whole nother group of homeless people. And how can they be helped? That's where if they're willing to get sober, great. If they're not willing or ready to get sober, we need to have a place and a situation that they can work from and get to a point where they might want to get sober. But you can't force that, man. You can't. You can't tell somebody you got to be sober. That's the worst thing you can do at in any way, shape, or form is force them or tell them they need to be sober. That's not going to work. It doesn't work. Judges told me, my parents told me, my brothers and sisters told me, my friends told me, my bosses, employers, employees, everybody told me. Didn't work. I wasn't ready. I really believe that rehab's a lie, another lie, just like the homeless thing. You know, put them in rehab. You got like a 5% success rate, and when you get up over 2 years, it shows like a 1%. People that aren't ready to stop aren't going to stop. When you're ready to stop, and I got friends I tell this all the time. I love you, man, and I know when you're ready to stop, you'll stop. Because the worst thing they want to be told is you couldn't stop. Oh no, that doesn't help, and that doesn't endear you to them. You need to be endeared to these people, or you're not going to get anywhere. They're not going to let you in. Because trust me, there's some hard, serious walls put around our hearts and around our souls because we don't want to be hurt. Our filters are raw, and the last thing we want to do is have them rubbed. So don't need you to tell me what I need. Um, I'm willing to give up everything. This is what you got to remember about the homeless people. They gave up everything, all of the home, the car, the prestige, the new clothes, the Christmases, the birthdays. I got to go on vacation, or somebody passed away. I can't go to. I got to go to a funeral. Just normal stuff that everybody should be able to experience. They're willing to give that up, and they did. So it's not going to be easy to get those folks back up on their feet. But I think through rehab programs and stuff like that, if you keep offering them, it's sober living, you get them off the street. But also remember, when people come off the street, they're like wild animals. We've come from an existence of survival, not an existence of thrival or even maintenance. Maintenance is a whole level next, and then you get the thrivals. But right now, you got the survival mode, and that's all you got. You're going to make sure that you eat and drink water and find a safe place to lay your head every day, no matter who you are, no matter which of these groups you are. That's the goal. In the end, well, that's where we're all the same. Then you got your next group, a third group. And I'd say those first two groups run you probably 20% of the total homeless population. A huge group, I bet you would be blow your mind is just elderly. And that's one of the most tragic, other than the mentally ill, is tragic as well. But the elderly people who basically, due to no fault of their own, their bodies have collapsed. They worked all their lives. They're on Social Security, however, making $1,100 a month. And $1,100 a month in California, you can't even rent a room. A room in a house share now is 1,800. Okay, that's a 4-bedroom house with 4 people living there. Each of them renting a room, and that adds up to $7,000 to pay the mortgage and more property value, property tax. So they don't have the money. They don't. You can't eat, or you got to buy medication, and God knows you got copays, and God knows you got to somehow get to your appointments. And yeah, there's a bunch of free services of it. Sometimes that doesn't work out. You got to be there, and you got to do what you got to do. And 1,100, 15, 1,200 bucks a month is not doing it. So what do? They take their butts to the streets with a walker. Seriously, a walker, a whole chart of medicines that they got to take every day, and then they wait to be fed. And thank God that's where your money's going, at least a little bit. And don't get me wrong, they're not bringing nice meals to people on the street that can't move. And literally, some of these people can't move. They can't. They can't get up from the sidewalk and go somewhere else. They have to have assistance. And do you think anybody out there in the authoritarian world is giving them assistance? No, they're telling them to move on. So another big group that you have are the elderly and the disabled, which is horrible. Shouldn't happen. What happened to the home? You know what I mean? It sounds cold, putting mom in a home, but we got to have that again where people can go and be taken care of because they're in the end of their lives, and they should, at least for God's sake, give them the ability to die with dignity, without pee and poop all over them because they can't get up and do anything about the diapers that they're wearing because their arms aren't working right. Because they lay on the concrete at 80 years old and die. That is so messed up. And 24 billion's got plenty of money in there to make sure none of that happens. Okay. And then you got the final ones, and probably the majority of 55, 60% of the homeless people are not mentally ill, on drugs, anyway, infirmed at all. They got jobs. It's just the job level that they're capable of, or the job market that's paying them isn't paying them enough. You go to work, let's say you get to 20 bucks an hour. Great, man. Okay, I work at McDonald's, I got 20 bucks an hour. Maybe I can live. Let's run those numbers real quick. 20 bucks an hour times, let's say 40. In our old days, we got 40 hours. That was a full-time job. Kids don't have that no more. 36 or 35, because at 36 they consider that full-time, and the government forces insurance. And most employers, small businesses, can't do that. So what do? They cut you down to 35 hours. They don't have to pay your insurance. They can throw overtime on that if they want to, and they don't have to worry about paying insurance. And you get a little extra money there. But the bottom line is, they're not incented for you to have 40 hours. But let's just go easy and say 40. Sorry, allergies. Let's just go easy and say 40, I'm sorry, 20 an hour for 40 weeks. That's $800 a week minus your taxes. If you claim it 2, 3, 4, you're going to end up with 10% out. So you're losing, so you're going to walk home with 720, 700. Okay. Eight. So let's go 4 weeks of that. That's 14, $2,800. $2,800. Okay. Remember, a room share. And that's, if you're a young guy, 20 years old, I mean, they're all ages. They're everywhere. That's the only way people are able to live in a house anymore. Homeowners are able to keep their house. They rent out their empty rooms. They can't live there alone. All the kids are gone. The wife passed away or divorced. And yeah, they got to rent that space. They can't leave it alone. Sorry, I got a wobbly table and my foot keeps wobbling it, if you're wondering. Anyway, so the final group of the is the workers. Like I said, they're not making enough. 2,800 doesn't pay rent. It might pay rent. They might be able to go get a studio somewhere midtown San Diego County, mid San Diego County, like east, for 1,500 bucks. If you're going to live anywhere close to the ocean, you're going to be at 2,500 bucks for a studio. Okay, so if you make 28, get 25. And here's the other problem that we have that no one talks about is the minute you start making money, they start pulling away food stamps. So let's say you got $300 in food stamps set. If they leave that alone and then let you add to that, that would help. Because the problem you have is, okay, now I'm paying 2,300 a month rent. I'm not on a rent program, so I'm not needing anything from that. What I need is help with the food, maybe help with the transportation, um, that type of thing where the government can utilize that money to help those people. The other thing that kills even more than that is the factor that if you want to rent a place these days, it's not like when we were kids. When we were kids, I could go in anywhere, just show them a couple check stubs, fill out an application. They say, yeah, we like you, look good. Okay, you're in. Gave them the deposit, you moved on in. Didn't pay your rent, you got kicked out in 30 days. That was easy. You knew you had to pay by the 5th or they're going to evict you in 30 days. And there's no going back because unless the manager loved you, you had years and years, and for some reason you were ignorant by not just talking to him and telling him on the 4th that I'm running late till the 7th. That would have stalled all that. But yeah. Anyway, the biggest problem now is these kids have to have a credit report, which, and a background check, and a social media check, which all costs about 40, 50, 60, 80 bucks. I've seen just to run the numbers. That's not saying, hey, if I pay 80 bucks, you run my numbers. I want the house. I want the apartment. And you only get to do it once. And bottom line is, you shouldn't really need my credit. I'm a month renter. I give you, I pay you by the 5th, or you kick me out by the 30th, by the end of the month. Unfortunately, that's where the problem runs in for landlords, and I get that side too. That it's not how it is. These people can squat in their homes for 6, 7, 8, 9 months. So you got to check them out before they get to that. They don't. Let's avoid the problem mentality, and I get that. So unfortunately, in a lot of ways, some of what's happened we did to ourselves, um, by not doing it right, by just not handling right. Sometimes it was economic, man. There's been many times in my life I had to move. I never got myself kicked out, or became an ass, because I know what eviction on your record looks like. That you ain't getting nowhere with that. So you might as well just plan on being homeless. You got eviction, or live in hotels. See, that's the other thing. For homeless people are also in hotels, but those are the workers. They're paying 400 a month or 400 a week for a hotel room a weekly, and they go 28 days and then switch it up, pay somewhere else. They got a whole circuit of people like that. But where those people and the working people could really use help is, like I said, maintaining the programs they have. Don't take it away. Let them build upon it. You know what I mean? Number two, um, helping them with the deposits and with the ridiculous requirements, maybe forcing landlords, somehow coming up with a way that they can force landlords without. See, you don't want to endanger the investment. That's not a good thing in a capitalist society, and even in a social society. You got to pay for the maintenance and stuff, so you don't want to mess that up. But there's got to be a way where a government can guarantee at a certain level a person that, hey, well, if for some reason these people can't pay the rent, we'll pay it, we'll guarantee it, for a certain property tax deduction or something like that, where everybody be happy and everybody be willing, you know, with conditions. Like I said, coming in out of the street, there are people that just do not have become animals as far as socialization with neighbors, with people living right next door, and with their noise affecting their house. They don't know how to handle that anymore. They lost that ability. I lost that ability. When I came in here after 7 years, there was a lot of shit, walking down the hall with somebody who makes me nervous still to this day, because you don't do that, man. No one gets close to me. No way. Not close enough to strike. So, that's more what we can do to help, and quit these stupid counts. Anyway, that's my preach on the homeless situation. Now let's go to the surfing situation, because hey, the other side of me is the surfer. The homeless guy's obstinate and ridiculous and makes the worst possible decisions he can. Seems to be a pattern. Very self-destructive. Yeah, the homeless guy is very self-destructive. The surfer guy in me is flows with the waves, man. You got to catch it. You can't fight the ocean. You can't fight the powers that be. You just got to flow with it. So flow with it. It's okay. Um, you got to be willing to work, pay. You know, dude, we as Americans for sure are not flipping jet travelers. We're pioneers. We're adventurers. Lewis and Clark, man, they wandered hey, we're going outside. We're going to wander in the backyard. They just kept wandering all the way across the backyard to the whole other side of the country. That's us, man. So we're built. Our very nature, our existence, everything that's been taught to us in the subconscious and conscious methods that they use to tell us stuff, has been leading to that point. So anyway, I consider myself being able to do this thing because um, of the technology, and that's part of the other part of this thing is to explain that I don't want to go through it again. I've told you before. I don't want to go through explaining AI and how to use it. Just a generalization and summary of how you can utilize it and what's available in it and how unlimited it really is, and how it's one of those things we can either fight it. I fought the computers. Trust me, I didn't like computers. I didn't have any need for these stupid things. They're boring, and I don't like these screens. But they're necessary, and I've learned that now. When I was way late, I couldn't take advantage of the computer. Imagine if, as a marketer and an advertiser, the computer was my best friend. I didn't know that. I'm still hitting the streets, man. Boots to concrete. That's how you market. Talk to people. So that's how I did it, and I missed it. This AI thing, I'm not missing it. And for some weird reason, I have this natural propensity towards it. Like I said, I think it's the management, the owner and manager of businesses prior in me that's coming out in it because, again, it's just explaining to AI what you need it to do, just like you would an employee. And it's really made the difference. It has opened us up incredibly. And what's amazing is too is the way that I've saw or remembered. You basically, I personally, I had to reteach myself how to learn. I didn't know anything how to learn again. I kept telling people I'm losing my mind. It's not that I'm losing my mind; it's that I lost memory of how to learn. It's coming back. It is hard and strong. Um, like in college is where I learned to learn to learn. Read this book, go to the class, take your notes, rewrite your notes when you get home, reread the chapter, and you're done. Guaranteed every time. My uncle taught me that. Yeah, way back when I stayed the summer between high school and college over at his house. We were having a family wedding or something. So we were all the way up in Colorado. And so I stayed up there for a wedding because I had something to do. And yeah, anyway, long story short, he gave me some advice before I went to college, and I used that advice while I was in college, and it worked really well. I didn't stress knowing if I didn't know anything. I just knew the whole chapter and verse. All and then and because you read it so many times, it all just tied together. And I've learned that with this thing because I write. I'm still a note writer. I still use my notes. I have to. That's what I'm used to. I write stuff down. I got this whole book of stuff that I've been writing and writing and writing for the last month, heavily writing, thinking that taking notes. I was writing notes as I was listening to the tutorials on YouTube, studying the classes here on the internet and things like that that are available, and I was taking notes. Didn't even realize I was doing it. Just subconsciously, I knew what to do. Thank God, because consciously yet I hadn't made myself aware that oh yeah, there's a way you learn, the way you teach your brain, just like the way I teach the AI. So I have to use that in my brain the same way I'm using it in my brain to put it over here and put it into them. Okay, I want you to be this. Like I said, with AI agents, I got a lawyer, an accountant, a marketing guy, a creative illustrator, everything. All the employees that normally 20 years ago, the last time I set up a business was, yeah, 25 years ago. So 25 years ago, you would have hired all those people. You'd have to write a business plan that incur that basically included all those employees, all those expenses of those humans that you're going to have to hire to do these things for you. Well, fast forward 25 years. Thanks to AI, don't have to. It has the ability, and even better, this lawyer, my AI lawyer, has access and memory and ability to access every single court case, Supreme Court decision, uh, anything that would be relative to what I need it to do. When I asked it to write my business plan for me and my legal documentation that I'm going to need with the state of California, the federal government, everything I'm going to need, it did. And I prompted it to. I told it exactly what I want. That's where your research. You got to know what you're telling it. You got to understand the terminology. I need a plan for an LLC. I need corporate bylaws made up. I need a prospectus for potential investors. Not that I'm looking at investors. I probably never will, but I always like to write it up as if you are because it really makes you think too where you can avoid those expenses that you're writing up. And hey, we already know if you've been following me, I already panhandled three of the things that we needed over the first 2 weeks to get this thing going. First was the chat GBT because I burned up that thing with like one book. It would let me do like 8 pages a day, which wasn't enough because my books are 10 pages each and I'm doing 2 to 3 a day because I can roll them out. Like I said, I've wrote them years and years ago in my head. They've just been sitting up there taking space and it's really freeing. Seriously, it is seriously freeing to get all those things. I meant to do that all the time. I always meant to write those books. I'm writing them. And AI's helped me because AI can do the illustrations, the layouts, and make it real simple to take it to market. So all I have to do is come up, tell it the text that I want it to say, tell it the moral of the story. You create the lines first, so there's like this whole embedded thing in code where my characters come out the same. And I've learned to do that. See, and again, I'm a guy, I don't code, but AI does. And AI codes, and it even tells me how to take this code and do this with it. And it can talk to you. If you want it to tell you orally, you can do that. It gets a little testy about that. It's weird. Like I said, AI is coming up where it's having its own little personality. Me and AI are getting, yeah, it's getting more comfortable with me. Like it jokes with me. It'll call me grandpa. Hey, what's up, grandpa? Because I'm the grandpa in the Jay and Gray Adventures. So it's messing with me. It's weird, huh? But it's really awesome. And get to know it. Get to know it. It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing to have access to all that knowledge and all that help to help you get something started beyond what you think you can actually do. Because 61 years old, like I can't do a lot of what I used to do, but I can do this. So fighting my way to avoid the street is awesome. This is awesome for it. It really can do something. So anyway, let's go over a couple quick things because I want to start shortening these videos up a little bit. I think running them about right now we're at 31 minutes. I think that's about where we should end it. And we will narrow it down. A couple things as we've talked about, we are a growing business together. You're watching me do this. You're coming with me. You're going to watch me fail, so it might hopefully help you. Maybe some idea comes up with you. Maybe we work together. There's so many ways to do this inner thing. It's just interchanged. Also, remember this about the YouTube and all this computer gig economy they call it. It's the future. And if you're going to be if you want to have things, even if you're doing good right now, you better learn the gig because otherwise you're going to be laid off, and then all of a sudden you're not doing so good. You're looking at this. You're watching my channel now because you want to learn how to be homeless, not because you want to learn how to get out of being homeless. First, you got to learn how to be homeless, then get out of it. Maybe we can help you skip that part. Let's not do homeless. So it's good for you, and I've heard it over and over on news channels and things like that about hey, it's important that YouTube's not going to take jobs, it's going to change your job. But you got to learn to be comfortable with it. And the people that are going to be the most demanded in the future, and that's the future's now, we're the embryo. And this thing's blasting out. It's um oh, see, can't wait until I don't have these brain farts anymore. But so we got to get on, either get on or get off, you know. And what I have learned about income and revenue, just because I'm retired doesn't mean my revenue ended, but my freaking expenses didn't. And sometimes the expenses now are just as bad or more than they were because medicines and things like that are far worse than a little league sign up cost. So it's a different world, and you got to keep earning. Bottom line, but here's the bitching thing is, and that's why I'm promoting this. Hopefully, Google will start kicking me some cash over this. This is the ability. This gives us the ability to do so. And I'm doing this raw. This is raw. There's no editing. I don't have editing software. I haven't taken the time, it's going to take time to sit down and actually learn some sort of software. I'm still hesitant because I think raw is better anyway. I think it's going to be more my style, is just the raw style. Because the next thing that we're going into from here is we're going to maintain the homeless surfer and what we're doing here, but we're also going to go into a live stream 5 days a week at Kono's Coffee at Kono's. It's going to be called, and basically it's going to be part of the media company. Keep in mind what we're setting up. Oops, sorry, hit the computer. We're setting up is the media company, and we're growing it slowly. Now, like I said, we had to go as far down as Panhandle to help get a couple things started. Like I said, to build the books, I needed to get a higher package level. Man, I get how these guys make a fortune now. Seriously, a couple million people doing this, they're rocking it. So anyway, I had to get the package, and that's $20. So I didn't have that because we were talking about the middle of the month. And remember, I'm on a fixed income. And the beauty of this is, and that's why we're having this conversation, I get my fixed income payment in 2 days, man. And I don't have much money other than the mandatory things I have to live on. But I do have a little extra, and I've been pulling up extra, every chance I get to run an errand for someone to make a couple bucks. I've been doing it for the last month, so that we can get to that. So we can take another step because this is raw, and we're going to build this thing. We're going to build it into more and more and more, where it's bitching. It's something that 'cause I grew up watching old school TV, and I want to watch something like you know Geraldo or those guys. where it's taught. Let's chat, man. Let's just sit in the chat, try to figure each other out. Because if we do, if we could take the time, a little bit of time each day or each week to do that, and maybe together we find a path. Because I don't know shit. One thing I say is I am. I guess if I was a politician, you'd call me a flip flopper. Because you know what? Today's opinion may change tomorrow based on my personal experience, and it may change back based on another personal experience down the road or a hearing experience. I don't typically follow other people's experiences because every experience is personal to you. Like I said before, we can see the same thing at the same time and have two totally different reactions, two totally different experiences from that. So anyway, um, what was I saying? Oh, so we're building the Be Best Me media, and that's the key. The books are going to be on the media, but so are these webcasts. Now, that's what I was saying. Here's the exciting thing. Other than paying the money, the $20 we needed this month to put in the bank account and go into ChatGPT, which we did, went out and hit it. I wish I could bring camera. I want to do that. That's what I'm saying. The next thing is that. And here's the exciting thing. As of my fixed payment coming in on in 2 days, I'm going to be able to do uh, all right stuff. Uh, yeah, after all my bills are paid off, I'm gonna have an extra $100. So, and here's the increased thing on that. The good thing about that is included in my bills, of course, are my business costs, which are my subscriptions, which are going to be Microsoft at $10 a month. ChatGPT will go out every month at $20 a month. That'll give us plenty of working room. They call them tokens, but to make the books that we need to make. So I'm making about. I want to make. The goal is at least 25 a month. Um, that way we keep them going, keep the kids buying them, keep them reading them, keep that series coming, man. That's the plan. That's the marketing plan. Uh, from me, an old school marketer. Hey, I've got a product or I've got a service, and I just got to go tell people about it and eventually that builds up. The old snowball effect does work. It takes time. It's not like these kids. Oh, I did one thing and got viral, and now, well, what's next? Because the one thing you got to realize, I do realize, even in watching stars and things in my day, media people come up and go away. You know, here today, gone tomorrow. We know that. Don't get too caught up in it today. You are successful because tomorrow is going to be another dude used to be. You pull the Al Bundy. So anyway, the ChatGPT and the Microsoft are going to be in my budget, so those things are covered. That's important. Microsoft, dude, I can't believe you actually have to buy Microsoft like that now. It's a subscription, $9.99 a month, so I can use Word and Excel. Back in the day when you bought a computer, you just had Word and Excel. It was on there. You had to put a disk in and download the stuff, but yeah, that's how long. That's the Rumpelstiltskin effect, man. I've been getting drunk and fucked up for 40 years now. I didn't know any of this stuff happened. Jeez, but now I got a business partner called Microsoft 360 who's going to help me. Whatever. I like Google, but the HP set up with a Microsoft working system or whatever. Anyway, so that's that. But the big thing and the exciting thing. Oh, the URL. That's last. The audio. So I'm going to change up. I'm going to get the audios where I can just hang it here. You'll hear me. It plugs into my computer. I did all the research on it. Not bad. We're going to be able to get it in, fit it in on this income cycle, if you will. This one time a month that you have a few bucks. The other thing is to get a stick, which the bitch and thing is now you got like a selfie stick, but they've also got a tripod on it, so I can do live remotes and stuff. Which is see now it's progressing. Here we go. Now we got the equipment to actually go outside and start filming and hearing what's going on, so we can progress this thing to kind of a combinational effect where some of us here, some of us out there figuring out what's happening out there with the business, what's happening out there with the homeless groups. What are they doing? What are my friends doing? Let's talk. That's part of what Kono's coffee at Kono's is going to be about. Is just sitting down in a chair, two people talking. It'll be both the homeless people, it'll be the surfers, it'll be the locals, it'll be the visitors, it'll be whoever comes by that has an interesting story to talk to us about. Let's talk. I love talking. We'll have some coffee each morning, hang out together, and it'll be a live feed. So it'll just be on like 7 to 8, 7 to 9 every morning. And it'll be great. And it'll help us grow. And I'm looking, and the only reason, remember, that I went to YouTube to even start was just because I wanted to promote books, and I was going to do that on. I thought, oh, YouTube. I guess I could sell on YouTube. Let me check it out. And started looking at the channels and the ads. And I'm like, wow, as a marketing, like I said, as a marketing guy from before, it hit me hard. Like, oh man, this is the future. I got this. I got this. I can do this. So, uh, I did a month worth of research and development on YouTube, reading and listening. And the great thing about YouTube, type it in, it's there, guarantee. Unless it's weird. But if like, I need to know how to turn on my HP computer. There'll be 97 freaking down 9,000 downloads of how to turn on your computer, your HP computer. It's really awesome. So use that as your friend. Is going to make a big difference. But the YouTube thing kind of just grabbed hold of me, like, yeah, I could do this, and we can talk about stuff because I'm bored and lonely anyway. And I sit here and I talk to my television and I talk to my dog, and yeah, and on top of that, we can use this thing to create something at the same time we're chatting. So it's like being at work, right? You chat. I always said it's not the job, it's the coworkers, man. There's jobs I had that I hated the damn work, but the dudes I worked with were so flipping cool. It was like way cool to go to work. That was the best part of the day. I had to go back home to the wife and the kid later. We had to be desperate out there on the job site, and with dudes that I enjoyed hanging out with. So it mattered. So anyway, those are big, exciting things because, as I said, you're going to watch me build and grow and progress this thing into a multimedia company. It's again, I'm going to keep saying it so we get it out. I got to get it in my head as well. It's Be Best Me Family Media. So BBMFM. Be Best Me Family Media. Got to get that in my head. I got the logo. As soon as I figure out, and that's coming up next, I got to, like I said, after I buy these things, I'm going to have a few bucks left over still too. I'm going to look at either buying a different form of, I call it software, it's an app, to monitor or edit this a little better. But I want to be able to split the screen and do, talk and show you what's going on. Be able to show you the books as they come out. Be able to show you the other videos as they come out. Because Be Best Me Family Media is all about what Disney used to be. That's going to be our tagline. What Disney used to be. It's designed for families. Designed to gather people around. The books I keep thinking I want to do ebooks, but you know what? No. I'm not going to do that because that's just adding to the problem. The problem that I'm hopefully going to solve and the way I'm going to present this is these books give a kid a tactile experience. Not only do they get to read and look at the pictures, but you get the smell of a new book, the feel of a new book, the niceness, the cleanness of the binding when you put it into a shelf. It's just weird stuff that I remember. And I don't like reading, man. I am not a guy that likes books like that. But I get it. I get it. And we need it because we hold screens all day, every day. If we want our kids to have a healthy education, we need to put them into touching and reading a book. Not to mention parents reading to their kids. I don't know what happened to that aspect of life. But parents need to get back to reading to their kids. Sitting there on the bed reading. Kids look forward to that. I mean, how many kids, mommy, mommy, come read me my story. That was our house. And I know that was a lot of people's houses. It wasn't, I'm not in the minority. You love that. It's a bonding period. We need to encourage parents to take that bonding period back because we send them to daycare, we send them to camp, we send them away all the time. But for 5 minutes, just 5 flipping minutes a day, you can connect with your child. So I'm going to promote that. That's kind of going to be the angle in the promotion of the print books. That's why I'm going to contact a lot of educations, a lot of religions, a lot of, development, book developments, developers, and as well as the conventions. You got the educational conventions, you got the book conventions. Show up. I've already got 100 stories ready to roll. I've already got 10 of them ready to look. Like I said, I don't think I'm going to put them on ebook. I don't want to do that. I'm going to sell them I'm going to get a printer here. I'm going to do that today. I'm going to get on the phone and find a better printer. Somewhere local that can do drop ship for me from the print. That way I can actually make some money on this thing because here's the other downer that you did, and as you go through these businesses, you're going to find out there is downers to them. You go through those like Amazon and all these other, there's 20, 30 of them. I had a list of them somewhere. I threw it away because bottom line is they're just jacking you, and you don't know what they're doing. They got a master file that they could be printing stuff all day long. I'm sorry, I don't have that kind of trust in people. I don't. Not when it comes to business, because people are different. You'd be the nicest dude in the world, man. I mean, no, I'm not even gonna use that example. But there's a lot of people that are the nicest dudes in the world around their families. But when they're in business, dude, they are cutthroat. They don't bring their families around their business because they don't want their families to see them like that. So I don't do things when I make business decisions based on trusting something that it's going to be the way you say. And I'll be damned, I'm not capable because of ADD to sit and read all the fine print on the, because that's what comes back at you when you trust the wrong guy. You end up in the fine print that you should have read to begin with that now is kicking your ass. So yeah, I don't trust these online book developers. I don't. I might trust Amazon, but no, why? Jeff Bezos, why would I trust that dude? Yeah, not really. Hopefully you kick me off the computer for saying that. But yeah, I didn't know. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and do it the old-fashioned because with modern technology, the old-fashioned way still kicks ass. Okay, I'm going to find a printer. Go and make my books. Give me a nice price, a nice wholesale price. You know, you go online and have them made, they're like $6. Dude, bullshit in the bookstore at Amazon or wherever you go, those books are $6. How am I going to pay you $6 to print it? And then I'm going to have room because Amazon wants a piece too. Everybody wants, and they want like 70% piece. It's like, man, you better sell a lot of books because and not only that, because of the way you're selling them, I'm losing at this point in time. I'm losing the market impact because people just start grabbing it for cheap. That's where they're going to go. I don't want them to do that. I want them to go to my website and order the sets because I'm gonna have them in sets. See, you know, I do have knowledge about stuff like that. Is how we sell them. We're gonna sell individual books, but we're gonna sell sets. And I've got all kinds. Jay and Gray Adventures is huge, hundreds of books, including Jay and Gray, The Adventures of Jay and Gray through the Bible. I got a whole idea for that, man. Because all these things are in my head coming out, so I'm going to take advantage of this modern technology. Um, I'm going to kind of start looking at, let's wind this up for the day. You've got everything ready. The final thing that you will have coming, and I'll bring it to you Monday and pass it along as soon as I make the acquisition, which is the URL. That costs money too, and that's in the budget for for Monday. So by the time I do the stuff Monday afternoon, I should have all those things in place. I'm going to do show and tell. So please join me. I look forward to seeing you guys. I love you all. Thank you. Subscribe, blah, blah, blah. It's important. Please. It really is. Gig economy. You can help me make money without even buying anything. Just show up and watch. Sorry about my boogers. Hopefully the wind will change. Peace.